An insanity plea for Charleston shooter Dylann Roof will be a hard sell. We now know that he's a documented white supremacist, inspired by an organization whose rhetoric is becoming more and more mainstream. In a manifesto allegedly written by Roof that's now under investigation by the FBI, he says he chose to attack the Charleston community for its black history. He also says that he first became, quote, racially aware during George Zimmerman's trial over the killing of Trayvon Martin, and was led to the website of the Council of Conservative Citizens. It's a group with roots in pro-segregation movements of the 1950s and 60s, and it decries racial diversity. While it doesn't sport swastikas or pointy hats like other more recognizable hate groups, it does trot out the Confederate flag. And hateful language. The co-founder once called black people a retrograde species of humanity. Their newsletter often rails against black on white crime and believes in an endangered white race.
Everybody out here got cases and a real brain and real thug lives to match these thug records.
Like Snoop, Tupac was no stranger to trouble. He had grown up without a father, spent time behind bars, and found fame in rap. Tupac had a record deal, but Snoop thought he'd fit in well at death row.
I haven't seen a car in 50 miles.
You know what I just thought of, right?
Kenny and Darla,
You believe that story?
that they did go looking for her head.
They only found the car.
They never found her head.
What's he doing?
The hell is that? He dumped something down that pipe.
Wrapped in a sheet.
Is this your idea of a little adventure?
I'm just gonna look.
You know the part in scary movies where somebody does something really stupid and everybody hates them for it? This is it.
Every 23rd spring, for 23 days, he gets to eat.
Eat.
What the hell is that thing?
It's stuck in reverse!
He must have 5, maybe 600 bodies down there.
You've got something it likes, one of you.
You think he's dead?
They never are.
Jeepers Creepers.
The revelation.
The shattered dreams of a broken
10 days.
heart.
If I died in 10 days.
What does it mean if I fall
10
apart?
If I died in 10 days.
Being tortured, screaming in the
If I died
dark
in
is
10
the guarantee to be a
died in 10
broken heart as I fall apart, fell apart. broken heart. Breaking mirrors to broken glass, picking up the pieces. Broken mirror, broken glass. My antithesis. Why didn't I see this coming true? If the devil himself in your bedroom, what would you do? Trying to sleep, but it's hard to sleep. I'm having visions of wicked men killing Christians, listening to politicians. So I grabbed a pen and started writing. Imagine fighting Count Dracula after seeing someone stabbing you in the face. Would you die for the human race, or would you escape? Just be trapped in a different place. The United States of America don't care if you're one of the poor. They'd much rather ignore. What am I fighting for? To bring war to the race. I hate this world we're living in. Feels like the Matrix. Please take this bloody game away from me, cause all I do is try to be the same. See my broken heart, the shattered dreams of a broken heart.
If I died in 10 days,
what does it mean if I fall apart?
if I died in 10 days,
Being tortured, screaming in the dark is a guarantee to be a broken heart. A broken heart as I fall apart, fell apart. Broken heart.
African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. The congregation, which was established in 1816, is one of the oldest African American churches in the United States. The attack came 2 months after the fatal shooting of Walter Scott in neighboring North Charleston that sparked major protests and highlighted racial tensions in the area. The gunman, 21-year-old Dylann Roof, was attending a Bible study meeting at the church, sat there for an hour, and at the end of that hour opened fire and told the worshipers, "I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country and you have to go." According to witnesses, Roof loaded and reloaded his gun 5 times during the Marathon Murder Fest. He spared one woman, apparently specifically telling her, "I'm not going to shoot you because I want you to tell everyone what happened." There were 3 people in total who survived the shooting, including a 5-year-old girl whose grandmother told her to play dead. School records show that between 4th and 9th grade, Roof attended 6 different schools and repeated the 9th grade, made a lot of racist jokes, and held strong conservative beliefs, which is implied by photos of his vehicle, which contained a Confederate States of America front license plate. In April, 1 month after his arrest for felony drug possession, and the same month of his trespassing arrest, Ruth's father saw fit to give him, for his 21st birthday, a .45 caliber gun. I don't even know what to say about that. Hey, you got problems with the law. Hey, you're trespassing. Hey, you've got serious drug addiction problems. Let's get you armed now, shall we? Happy birthday, son. A recent photo shows Roof wearing a black jacket that is emblazoned with 2 flags: apartheid-era South African flag and the Rhodesian flag. Rhodesia was a country that has since become Zimbabwe, which has since become an inflation-mad hell zone of economic and agricultural destruction. And we'll get to that in a moment. So, as we said, according to eyewitnesses, Dylann told the worshippers, "I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country and you have to go." So I decided to check. Is the statement about rape the deranged ramblings of a madman, or are there facts behind it? So I dove into the murky, crazy, confusing world of race-based crime statistics, and there was a sea of bad information. But one website appeared to source a legitimate 2005 study by the Bureau of Justice Statistics with credible estimates of black on white rape. The study reported that in 2005, 33.6% of perpetrators of rape and sexual assault against whites were black, while the percentage of white on black rape was 0. In other words, this is a quote from the website, "In the United States in 2005, 37,460 white females were sexually assaulted or raped by a black man, while between 0 and 10 black females were sexually assaulted or raped by a white man." That is that is some horrifying information, so of course, dive in deeper. This turns out to be a crime victimization survey, and so a lot of these sample sizes are based upon less than 51 people, and so you cannot go from that to very detailed numbers like that. Also, the numbers and the ratios of interracial rape vary widely from year to year. The following year, these numbers dropped by a half. So you have to be very careful with this data, and it really bothers the living hell out of me that people put inflammatory, irresponsible data out on the internet. This website made a very bold claim that says, quote, "What this means is that every day in the United States over 100 white women are raped or sexually assaulted by a black man." The internet is full of statements like this, and it bothers me because there are unstable and deranged people who are going to go out and hoover up this information, and it's going to burn in their brain, and they're going to become race warriors, and they're going to become crazy people who target others. It is really important, especially in highly volatile areas, to be sure of the data you're putting out. You've got to dive in, you've got to figure out the source, you've got to be responsible, you've got to put your caveats in, and if you make a mistake, you've got to correct it. This is fuel to the fire that might burn the whole world. President Obama has noted, once again, innocent people were killed because someone who wanted to inflict harm had no trouble getting their hands on a gun, he said. Now is the time for mourning and for healing. But let's be clear, at some point we as a country will have to reckon with the fact that this type of mass violence does not happen in other advanced countries. So, look, I don't want to climb on these bodies, this horrific, brutal series of slaughters and murders in the place of peace and worship. So I'm hesitant about this, but there is something that I do want to say, and if you just want the facts, you can turn this off here, but there is something that I do want to say. Look, white people, black people aren't going anywhere. Black people, white people aren't going anywhere. We are wed. We are co-joined as cultures and as races. And there is a chilling lack of dialogue between the races. Look, black people have complaints about white people. Underrepresentation, structural racism. There are complaints that black people have about white people. Interestingly enough, there are fantastic complaints that some black people, particularly conservative black people, have about white people insofar as they say, well, the welfare state is really bad for black people, it's destroyed the black family. As Tom Sowell, the great economist, has said, that the welfare state has done what slavery could not do, what Jim Crow could not do, what segregation could not do, which is destroy the black family, where you have a 70 to 74+% of children in the black environment being born to unwed mothers. So yes, there are complaints about whites that come from blacks, and they need to be listened to. And I think that actually a lot of culture, a lot of media, a lot of white people have tried their best to listen to these complaints and to do something about them. On the other hand, I would argue that whenever white people have criticisms about blacks, all you hear are these massive screams of racism. You know, that break down canyons and bring the avalanche of social disapproval down on people's heads and bury what anyone might actually have to say that could be helpful or useful. Yes, white people have complaints about black people. There's a lot of crime in the black community. Yeah, there's an excessive consumption of welfare relative to population size. Yes, there's massive growth in single motherhood. There are certain elements of the black culture, you know, rap and calling people Oreos and deriding success as acting white. There are toxic elements within the black culture. And we need to talk about these things. But every time that a white person brings up any criticisms of black culture, generally what happens is they scream racism and shut the whole thing down. That is not productive. That is not going to work. I mean, think of a couple in couples counseling where the man turns to the woman and says, you know, I've got some complaints about your behavior. And she's like, sexist. I'm not listening. It's your fault. Right? I mean, so whenever white people say, you know, there's a lot of crime, slavery and racism, slavery and racism, slavery. That is not a productive conversation. It's not a productive conversation.
I don't know, you probably
like
maybe have saw the
4% of
press
whites
conference.
ever owned slaves
came
in
out
the
of
South.
hiding.
Yeah.
It's not the fault of any living white person that this historical tragedy occurred.